Erased Destiny 2, The Knower. Chapter 10, Change of Landscape. Etien folded her wings in mid-flight and landed on her knees in front of the man standing at the gate to the tower full of guards. Before he could scream, she silenced him and wrapped him in ivy. She hid the motionless body in an illusion of a pile of snow. She knelt on the pavement, placed her hands flat on the stones, and remained in this position until she sensed the arrangement of the rock slabs on which the city was built.
Mother Earth, hear my voice. Earthquake!
The motionless sovereign, although camouflaged, exposed herself to attacks from mages running around, looking for the cause of the weather anomalies. She could be hit by a stray arrow or a spell sent aimlessly. Nathan watched Etien through a crack in the wall. With a careless movement of his hand, he adjusted the position of his hair. If he was to die, he preferred to look his best after death. He conjured up an ice storm on the other side of the square. A few breaths from the dragon were enough to completely dispel his spell, but the mages took the bait and began searching the houses in the area. The guards remained, patrolling the square between the towers. They circled dangerously close to the enchanting Etien.
Let's go home. I've had enough excitement for one night.
I'd love to. In about 40 to 50 minutes, there will be nothing left of us. I mean you, because Etien will bring me down. She promised me that.
But why do I have to disappear?
Haven't you noticed that you can't feel anything? No temperature, no fatigue, no touch. Look at your hand. I'm pinching you. Can you feel it? Exactly. Etien is using her power to protect us. But this spell has one flaw. If she doesn't remove it in time, we'll be transported to the other side. Along with your body. Nothing will remain of you here. So for your own good, don't interfere with my efforts to protect Etien.
Jargon couldn't shake the vision of Nathan's mountain training. Back then, his task was also to protect the immobilized ruler. And time again, he failed. He bit his lip, but didn't feel it. In Tyrdam, he couldn't afford to make any mistakes. For that, he received the symbol of death, protecting him from the consequences of overly reckless fighting. Determined to use himself as a live bait, Nathan wanted to leave the hideout, but Jargon wouldn't let him. The boy focused all his willpower on keeping his legs still. Nathan cursed in anger. He tried to distract Jargon in other ways.
She didn't praise me enough. That's what she said. What a nonsense. She praised me every time I achieved something. It wasn't her fault that I rarely succeeded. I, on the other hand, never praised her once in all our lives together. She was so perfect, so unattainable for us mere mortals, that I never even thought she would appreciate it if someone acknowledged her efforts. If someone noticed how much good she had done. She should have burned me alive instead of wishing me a happy life.
Jargon wouldn't be provoked. He focused all his attention on immobilizing his body, not listening to Nathan at all. With no other options left on the table, Nathan closed his eyes. He quieted his breathing. He tried not to think about Etien, who was counting on him, abandoned in a square full of armed guards, unable to move until the spell was ready. He immersed himself in memories of training with Selena. He slowly lost himself, and his eyes turned blood red. That time he was able to disconnect his thoughts, disconnect his consciousness, even the foreign one. He had achieved a lot. That was true. Without turning into a vampire, he was able to become the terrifying beast of the Lady of Crystal Palace, even if only for a moment. He jumped out of his hiding place just before Etien was attacked. The cracks in the pavement around the girl became more and more pronounced, and the guards became more and more determined to put an end to the magical anomalies in Tyrdam. Nathan, running blindly, diverted their attention. In his haste, He cut down 2 men standing in his way, while the others retreated to the walls of the tower, which was cracking and creaking. Before the building collapsed, Etien ran to the neighboring tower. There, she also cast an earthquake spell and held on to the pavement. The cracking walls of the houses foretold an imminent disaster, so the mages quickly escaped from the area at risk of collapse. It was more difficult for the guards to make the decision to leave their post. They were encouraged by the red-eyed Nathan, who mercilessly took the life of anyone he jumped on. His fitness, especially his stamina, left so much to be desired that it didn't take him more than 2 minutes to collapse on the stones. He turned his head slightly to take a last look at his beloved. If Jargon had cooperated with him, they wouldn't be lying on the ground now. Nathan was prepared to risk losing consciousness or even dying. He felt nothing. No fear, no pain, fatigue. Silently, he thanked Etien for the symbol she had given him.
Run! It's going to collapse!
Thanks to her spell, Jargon had a chance to survive being buried under the rubble of the tower. That is, if they can dig him out before the curse takes him to the other side. But even in that situation, painless death was still a pretty good gift. Nathan smiled. He was sure that Etien would find him in the land of the dead. Etien knelt down next to Jargon.
Have you run out of power? Energy restore. Are you hurt? I don't think so. Can you get up?
She lifted the boy to his feet with poison ivy. Then she pulled him along in a mad escape through the streets of the collapsing city. The deafening roar drowned out the screams of dying dragonflies, the shouts of people, the cries of terror. Although the epicenter of the tremors was as far away from residential buildings as possible, the girl was unable to protect the citizens from losing their property. As she ran, she glanced at falling roof tiles, cracking walls, and falling windows. Unable to save the city's uninvolved residents, she used poison ivy to stabilize the unstable structures. She used ice to support the walls. She used wind to catch objects falling from the windows. She jumped over a wide chasm only to land on a group of mages blocking the road.
The breath of an ice dragon.
She ran past the people trapped in acid, with Jargon following behind her. He was slowly regaining his strength, slowly regaining his faith in his own survival. Against Nathan's wishes, who cared nothing for his safety, Jargon agreed to follow Etien because he was afraid for Marigold. Besides, he was curious to see what real battles looked like. In the current situation, he deeply regretted giving in to his curiosity. With redoubled determination, he intended to do everything possible to prevent Nathan from betraying their secret. Even if it meant watching every word, every gesture, staying awake at night, Jargon decided not to follow Etien. Never again would he have to see murdered people or fight for his life. The door to the tower, standing away from the square, damaged during the earlier struggle, hung crookedly on one hinge. Accelerated by the magical creature, Nathan reached it first. A flash of metal somewhere in the darkness caused the boy to push Etien aside. Jargon felt nothing. Surprised, he opened his eyes and saw his hand ending just above his elbow. On the other side of the door laid a headless body.
Damn it! I can't help you here.
I'm fine. I'm not bleeding. That's strange.
It's because of my magic. Now let's get upstairs. One spell more, and we are done for tonight.
They ran up the stairs, which were littered with debris. Nathan stared intently at the stump of his arm to keep Jargon under control for as long as possible. He noticed that fear for his own life, and the sights that were completely normal for a city engulfed in civil war were weakening Jargon's will and making it easier for him to move the foreign body. From the platform at the top of the tower, Etien threw a small clay bottle onto the pavement. Watching it fall, she said.
Ice Age. It's been a long time since my muscles hurt so much.
A small explosion below them generated a mass of white fluff that swept through the streets of Tyrdam, carrying fragments of collapsed buildings and debris.
Zuzu, get us out of here.
Nathan was already opening his mouth when Zuzu appeared beside them. He cursed softly. Nothing ever went according to his plan.
That worked out nicely, don't you agree?
The residents of Tyrdam seem to have a different opinion. But still, it's better than letting an army loose on the streets. Or vampires. Thank you, Mom, for keeping the death toll to a minimum.
Zuzu laid Jargon on the bed made of magical substance. She used ivy to stop Cyril from running to his wounded only child. Mom breathed deeply, trying not to look at the blackening wound. Etien, on the other hand, was most interested in the smokeless symbol on the boy's forehead. She tried to estimate how long it had been since she had drawn it, but she couldn't count breaths like a seeker. She guessed it was 30 to 40 minutes.
Maybe I'll take him with me. Mom, you could use a healer too.
Feel free to heal me now. I still need to do something urgent here, and I can't go to the palace, let alone meet Naja. As for Jargon, let him decide.
Sensing what decision the injured boy would make, Etien took a piece of paper, pen, and ink out of her bag. The lista she made caused Jargon to have a fit of uncontrollable laughter, which Cyril interpreted as a release from the horrors he had experienced.
I'm staying. No one heals more effectively than Etien, and the healers would put me to bed for a good month. Completely unnecessary, anyway. I bet my arm will grow back by morning, and I'll be useful for something here.
But son, Etien also got hit. Treating you certainly won't improve her condition. The healers know their job very well. They will heal you in no time and you will come back to us.
I'd rather have Etien take care of me.
Etien handed Zuzu a piece of paper and, barely suppressing her laughter, said,
You'll find everything I need at the healer's place. Oh, and please bring us a dinner. I am sure everyone here is starving. Thanks.
For what? Unlimited teleportation? I wish I would be of more use to you, but healing is not my forte.
She disappeared, and Etien approached the wounded man. His inexplicable good humor disturbed her more than his severed arm. Jargon never joked about a life-threatening situation. Even hypothetically, she suspected the influence of the symbol of death, the sudden experience of feeling nothingness. She formed a tiny water bubble between her hands, which she used to refresh herself before the procedure.
Summoning the dagger of death. Any last wishes?
Taking advantage of the benefits of the binding curse, Etien applied antiseptic priestly spells and healer's spells to stop the bleeding. When she was done, Zuzu returned from the Crystal Palace with herbal ingredients and a few bottles that were the most popular in the hospital, and sandwiches. Etien looked at her. Since when were sandwiches considered a dinner?
Mom, everyone in the kitchen is sleeping already. And for working at night, I would have to pay them extra. You'll get a nice breakfast, I promise, as soon as they prepare it. Do you need anything else?
My body. My power. That would be a good starting point.
Etien took the werewolf regeneration potion out of the cauldron and handed it to Jargon. She didn't look at his face, so as not to blush again, to keep Marigold in check, at least until the treatment was over. Jargon's life depended on her knowledge and skill, not on love affairs.
Drink half of it now. The rest in the morning. Don't strain your arm tomorrow. If your stomach hurts, drink the broth I'll leave on the table. You must not eat meat. Have you got that? Great, the dead man's sleep.
She rubbed regenerative ointment into the stump. The smell of rotting grass reminded Etien of her duel with Narcissus. Back then, The ointment did not help. For many years, Etien had to function with a bone prosthesis instead of a hand. She was dead. She could not be cured just like that. And she did not know Gabriella yet. She wiped the symbol of death off Jargon's forehead, even though it was not covered in smoke.
What is she doing? Maybe we should take the boy to the hospital.
Etien is one of the best healers out there. Right now, she is casting the most powerful spell in this domain, royal healing.
Cyril fell silent, together with the others. He watched the previous sovereign's smooth, sweeping movements. And Etien pondered everything that had happened during the expedition. In particular, the suspicious memories of the people they had encountered. And Jargon. What was driving him? Why did he suddenly want to talk to Marigold alone? She was afraid he was going to propose. After the Jargon's treatment, Etien summoned her scythe, drew the signs of a magical journey with it, and disappeared into the purple surface. Zuzu teleported to the palace. The sleeping Jargon, the worried Cyril, and the tired who had become the guardian in the absence of anyone who could fight, remained in the apartment. Repeated the gestures of the offensive spells she had learned, especially those related to fire. She also guarded the restrained prisoner. She did her best to make the 11th Lady of the Crystal Palace recognize her contribution to the success of the mission as significant enough.